Hey, what's up, Brett? A quick demo video for you for your Luke V2 by KR and One Replicas. Just got this done today and wanted to go over it with you. So this is installed with a Proffie 2.2. It's got your neopixel pins in there for neopixel setup. It does take a 1-inch diameter blade. I've got a small test blade here that we'll test it with in a second. You got a blade retention screw right here. And I use my own 3D printed holder for the switches, and I put your switches inside the clamp card. Your front button here is going to be your activation switch, and then your back button here will be your auxiliary. So this only opens one way, and that's from the back. So we're going to take off this pummel cap, and then you're going to see it sticking out that far. So I made it stick out that far so that when you put this pummel cap on, it actually presses up against this guy and holds it in place, because what we did is we used I used a Smuggler's Outpost 14-pin PCB set. So it looks like this, 14 pins here. And what this does, it allows you to have a removable battery system. So your removable batteries right here, your spring side, your negative, and this piece just holds your board basically and your battery. And then your neopixel pins and your switches and everything else, it's held in on the other side with that PCB in there that doesn't come out. So that's got its own piece of the chassis holding that PCB in there. So that's what we did. So if I'm firing this up, the first thing I like to do is put the blade in. So we're gonna put the blade in. You'll feel it bounce on the pins. So just push down and then lock your blade retention in. Now the battery I'm gonna send you doesn't have a sticker on it. It's basically the batteries that Keep Power and some other companies buy, and then they rebrand and they put their own labeling on it. So I just buy them straight from the 18650 battery store, and it doesn't have a sticker. But if you have a battery that's got a sticker like this is my old beat up battery that I use to test everything, and it's been thrown around and everything. But I take this and I put the sticker down inside the chassis. This thing is pretty tight. I didn't have any room, any wiggle room to bounce back and forth. This had to be the exact diameter of the inside of this handle, because it needed to be like that so these pins would line up perfectly. If you could see those circles in there, the contacts for the pins, they're not very big. So this thing had to be exact. So I found with this battery at least, it slides in and out easier if I take that sticker and I put it on the inside of the chassis. So we're going to throw the battery in it. And you do have motion controls on here, so you have a swing on and a twist off. It will probably come on when you're putting the chassis in, which is fine. That's kind of why I just put the blade in anyway. So it slides in like that, just like that, right? It slides in, but it is tight. If you feel that it's too tight, come up here and just push in on your battery a little bit, and then it'll slide right in. So you can see the blade lit up because the pins made contact. So I'm going to take this pummel cap and I'm just going to screw it on. Just like that until it stops. So now everything is locked in place. Twist off. And then, of course, you have swing on. Twist off. Or we could use the buttons. Just like that. So we'll hold it down. So the activation button is a little bit shorter, or the activation tactile switch is a little shorter on the inside than the auxiliary here in the back. And the reason I do it shorter is because I've got a little bit more material in my 3D print right here, because all of the wires go in right here, right underneath that tactile switch. So I brought that tactile switch up a little bit to accommodate the wires. So if you have to press just a tad harder on that guy than you do on your auxiliary. Right, there's a reasoning for that. So we'll turn the blade off and we'll go hit our auxiliary for our sound fonts.
You could never escape me.
I put all the sound fonts that you sent me that you bought on here for you.
I'm ready. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Can't you though? Turn that back off. We'll keep cycling through so you can see what they're on there.
Lone Star.
This is a Spaceballs one, which is pretty cool.
Team C. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
So you can see it's all working. Everything's nice and tight in there. We'll just cycle back and forth between motions and the switches so you can see everything works.
Smooth gray, smooth fuzz. Team C. Smooth, smooth, smooth.
Nobody cares about the stock fonts, right? But they're on there anyway.
Team C. Smooth.
There we go. Sounds really good. It feels solid.
You can never escape me.
Now we're kind of back at the beginning, right? So we're going to turn this off. I'm going to take this, to take it out, it's very simple, right? We're just going to unscrew the pommel cap. And you'll notice when you have this, it's probably going to go off again on me, which is fine. You can just do it like this. So you're going to notice when you get this, I've got the speaker inside of this chassis just a hair. That way this pommel cap right here pushes up against everything when it's screwing in place, but it doesn't touch the speaker drum, so your sound's not distorted. So that's the reasoning for that. One last thing I'll probably say on this guy is I'm going to send your card back to you, but I did have to swap out your clamp card. So your card that you had with this guy is super thick. It takes up the entire width of that little channel right there on both sides, right? So there's no room to press up and down. I didn't want to sand it. I've done that to a card like that before, and you could actually see it from the underside and it looked like shit. So instead of doing that, I actually had this card laying around. It's a lot thinner. It's actually made to be used for stuff like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you this guy. I'll send you original one back. And just know that that original one won't fit in here because of the tactile switches that I've now installed in this guy. So this one is really what you need. Or if this doesn't suit you, you know, you could shop around and find some different style cards with the same thickness. The thickness is what's important. That's it. So if you got any questions for me, please let me know. If not, I'll wait to hear back from you and hopefully get this out in the mail to you tomorrow. Thanks, buddy.